All right, let's go ahead and start on symbolism and Tangerine. All right, so as per usual, I want you to review the directions for this activity, and we're going to go over it together. And you're going to be using the knowledge that you have from Tangerine, since we've already finished the book, and what you've learned so far this week in symbolism to fill in the chart. So my biggest request from you guys is make sure you answer in complete sentences. And there's not really right or wrong answers, because symbols can be interpreted in different ways. So hopefully we kind of all come up with something near to one another, because some of them are super obvious, but you can come up with all different kinds of things, which is why my answer for zombies right here is so long, because it can be interpreted in different ways. So go ahead and open up whichever one is easier for you to access, the PowerPoint version or the Google version. I'm going to go ahead and open up the PowerPoint since I have it on my desktop. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. Ignore the name stuff since we're going through Canvas, but just as a quick review from what we've learned this week, a symbol is a person, place, thing, or an event that stands for both itself and something beyond itself, okay? So for example, a blindfolded woman who's holding up scales is often used to symbolize justice, which is supposed to be fair in weighing the fate of the accused. So let me show you what that looks like. Usually you can like literally just Google justice or lady justice and see what that is. And this is what I was just describing in that. So this woman right here is very common to see like in a courtroom, or here's a statue outside of one. So it's exactly what I just said. Her name is Lady Justice, and she's holding that, and it's meant to weigh the scales for justice, because when you hold those kind of scales, if they're uneven, one will be higher than the other, and you want everybody's justice to be equal. So like if you were looking in olden times, like the first civilizations, like the Code of Hammurabi, they would do things like saying that if you were richer or you were higher status, your punishments weren't the same. And so his kind of code, these scales would be completely off. They wouldn't be even like this. Whereas in our system, the whole point is to be even. Now we know like in recent, I'm getting off on a tangent, but in recent news and stuff, it's very obvious that people of color haven't been having those scales equal, but that's what that symbol means. And so I don't want to get too far off topic, but that's what it's supposed to be. And that's what a lot of people are fighting for right now. Okay, back on topic. Symbols are often visual. As we know, we've been looking at colors and all kinds of things this week. But remember, it doesn't have to be, because it can just appear in lines of text. So when an object or event is used as a symbol, it usually appears several times in the text. And that's the only kind of symbols that I put here from Tangerine. A symbol, again, is a type of figurative language. Remember, we talked that a symbol could be in a metaphor or simile or an onomatopoeia, in any of them, but it is different. It is a part of figurative language, but it can be one of those things and a symbol. So like a metaphor, a symbol is identified with something that is very different but shares the same qualities. When you're thinking about whether something is used symbolically, ask yourself, does this character, object, or event stand for something? And in this case, all of the symbols that I want you to identify in Tangerine, they do stand for something else, or I wouldn't have put them there. So below is a list of symbols from Tangerine. Explain what each symbol stands for in the novel. Your answer needs to fully explain each symbol. And I gave us the example of zombies, probably because zombies might have been one of the harder ones to pick out. But throughout the whole story, like even in the prologue, he talks about zombies leaving the house, and he talks a lot about like, he refers to himself, or like the way he used to be as a zombie. And so I really tried to explain it out for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. So a zombie is something that should be dead but isn't. And it's totally terrifying because it won't die no matter what high-powered military weapons you try shooting it with, or what brand of shovel you hit it with over the head. just like Paul's past, except for the shooting and head bonking parts. So I'm kind of being silly with it. So think about like The Walking Dead or like Night of the Living Dead. Those things are dead already, but they're not, because they keep getting back up, right? And so that's why Edward Bloor kept bringing in zombies. And so look at the rest of what I wrote. If Paul can't even remember what happened to his eyes, he can't put that to rest, which is why he's always going back to and referring back to like I don't see the glasses in the pictures. I don't know why people call me Eclipse Boy. It's because something was wrong, right? And at the end we learned it's because he didn't look at an eclipse. It's because Eric and his friends sprayed him in the eyes with spray paint and he couldn't remember that. And that was like a zombie of his past, not knowing what happened to his eyes. So not knowing what happened to his eyes was even scarier to him because he couldn't remember it quite clearly. So when I meant remember. So kind of like a zombie off in the distance, if you're watching like The Walking Dead and they don't always know that far away if it's a zombie or if it's a person who hasn't turned into a zombie yet, like they don't know if it's safe or not. And so that's why I compared that to a zombie, that particular metaphor. And then just like a zombie, those memories and what's going on with his eyesight, it follows him wherever he goes, meaning like he can't get away from it because he's got these big old glasses on his face, right? So in this instance, zombies, as far as symbolically, equals his creepy past or like what happened with his eyesight. So you could have put either one and I would have accepted it, as long as you can back up what you're saying. Like, sorry, my dog keeps lifting my arm because she wants to be pet. Stop, Molly. Hold on, I'm just letting somebody else in. So again, I said there's not a right or wrong answer. So the big thing happens in the book with the sinkhole. It's a symbol, like maybe something's wrong with the school and that's a symbol for the school, or maybe something's going on in Paul's life and you think that's a symbol for that. Paul's glasses are a huge symbol in Tangerine, not just something that sits on his face like the glasses that are sitting on mine right now, but there's so many things, because over and over and over again, Paul says things like, I see things they don't. Right? And that's, again, something that's right in the prologue to let us know. And then what about Paul's new clothes at the end of this story when his mom takes him shopping and he's all excited and he talks about how that's not something he would have ever done. So maybe you could write something about that being like this, not just new clothes, but the start of his new life, because everything changed for Paul. And then what about muck fires? Think about them. So muck fires in the story are something that should be dangerous, but you don't really see them, right? You can smell them, but you can't feel the heat. You can't see the fire. It just looks like there's a fire. So think about something like that happened in Tangerine that maybe should have been dangerous or could have been dangerous, but wasn't really, because you couldn't really see it, or because it was just something that people thought was dangerous, but wasn't. Or the reverse, something that people thought wasn't dangerous, but really was. Could be a lot of things. And then the last one is the Golden Dawn tangerines. So those weren't just any tangerines, right? Those are like the best tangerines that Luis invented, and they meant a lot to his family. So you could talk about like tangerine as far as the symbol for the whole book. You could talk as tangerine as like the symbol for the livelihood of Luis's family and how important it was. It could be a lot of things. As long as you guys write down in here what you think they symbolize and it's in complete sentences, you will get full credit. Because remember, symbols is kind of hard to say, yeah, you're right, or no, you're not right, you're wrong, which is why this week's quiz is going to be very different. You're going to be doing an activity instead for a quiz grade. So before I let you guys go, does anybody have any questions about your assignment today or about symbols in general? Okay, guys. Well, since our class is so small, I'm actually finishing up my ELD grades today. And then instead of grading my regular English class, because they're the other English classes, I have several of them, it takes forever. I'm going to try to get through all of your guys' past stuff that you've turned in. So you should see a change in your grades today or tomorrow, but I will send you guys out an inbox message when I'm totally done grading. And then don't forget, just ignore IC because it's just not syncing right. So when I do put in grades in IC, what you see in IC is being automatically transferred over. I don't really even pay attention to IC except for attendance and when I put in like your report card grades. So in the next couple of days when you check and see what your grades are, check it in Canvas, okay? So give me until like tonight or until I send you guys the message and say, okay, grades are updated, and then you'll see what your grades are. Also, I just wanted to let you guys know that, especially for you guys that are in here, so like Daniel, Joel, Jose, Joshua, Kaylee, Luis, and Chantel and Valeria, I see you guys are in here every day, and I just want to let you know that if you have zeros, I told you guys at the beginning of the year that if you tried, the lowest grade you were ever going to get was a 50, and I meant that, but I'm only doing it for people like you guys who are trying in class. So you may see a huge jump in your grade by the time I'm done, just because if you did have a 0, for me, the fail is the same as a 50. So I'm going to be changing that. But when you turn in stuff, I never just give a 50. I give you, I think the lowest I'll give you is like 20% lower than what you earned. So I just want to let you guys know that you guys, especially the people that are here and that are turning stuff in, you're definitely going to see your grades jump and change in the next couple of days. So if you do have any questions and if something doesn't look the way that you thought it should, just send me a message or talk to me in class. Okay, guys? All right. I will see you later. You guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. See you tomorrow morning. Bye, guys.